What's up, beautiful world? This is TNA Top Notch Audio, and welcome to another episode of r/pettyrevenge. Our first story will be, throw a cup of ice at my head after almost hitting me? Okay, I'll tell your mom when I randomly to run into a week later. And then, it appears we're at an impasse. Followed by, subtle revenge on line cutters. And finally, park your car on my spot? I will do so too. If this is your first time listening, remember to hit that subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner. If this is not your first time, welcome back. Enjoy the stories. And this next story is posted by u/thebridgexx. Throw a cup of ice at my head after almost hitting me? Okay, I'll tell your mom when I randomly to run into a week later. So I, 22 female, was driving home from Kroger a couple weeks ago and was turning right on a very busy road. The light was green for me and even had the green left signal, so I know nobody was on the right to have almost hit me. I get midway through my turn and this red Honda almost slammed right into my driver door. He ran the red light and I instantly slammed my brakes. My car is old and beat up as F, so it barely stopped and literally was smoking from the tires because of how abruptly I had to stop. Normally I honk my horn at a-hole drivers, but I was too shocked to even do anything. I had lost a friend to a nasty wreck years ago, and I immediately froze up thinking about what had happened. Well, this lady in a red minivan was not too shocked to do nothing and immediately began laying on her horn and screaming at the guy in the Honda, who got out of his car. We were all at a red light now, and I was still far behind him because I was honestly scared of his driving, and started pointing his hand in the form of a gun shape at this lady, screaming, "I'll effing kill you, Butch, swear to God," and said, "Get out of the effing car," etc. I was completely horrified at this point. While he was distracted, I did snap a picture of the license plate. He got back in the car and began driving right next to the lady, screaming the whole time. She cut over 2 lanes and tried to turn right on another street, and I turned right behind her. I saw she had 2 small children in the back seat and wanted to follow her to let her know I had his plate number. I didn't even realize this guy was following both of us. The lady and I both came to a wide 2-lane stop sign, and she got ready to turn right, and I began telling her, "Hey, I have his plates." And out of effing nowhere, this guy flies between us in the middle of the lane lines and chucked a full cup of ice at me. He then took off and the lady flew after him. At that point, I was too scared to follow and turned right instead. I pulled over and called the local police to let them know that there was a guy recklessly driving and threatening a woman and her children, and that he had thrown ice at my head in traffic. They took all the info, including the plates, and let me know they'd be in contact. 1 week later, I was at Burger King getting food in the same side of town, and I see the red Honda. I looked at the photo I had and knew it was the same one. My car is very identifiable because of the stickers, so I got ready to just leave before he saw, and to my surprise, a middle-aged blonde woman got out of the car. I asked her if this was her car. It was. She said her name was on the title and asked why. I said, "Do you have a son?" Because a young man with dark hair and a beard threw ice at me while chasing a woman and her children through traffic. She said she didn't have a son and started to walk away. She instantly came back and asked if a younger girl with pink hair was with them, and I said yes. I remember them both screaming at the minivan lady. She came over to the car and asked if I had a license plate number, and I showed her. I also told her I had made a report because I was worried for the lady he was fighting with in the minivan. Turns out this is her daughter and her lazy butt boyfriend. She tells me that she only lets them drive the car in Harrison, the town she works, while she is working so they can do DoorDash and pay for groceries at their house. They are both grown and live rent-free. I told her where it happened, which was in a whole other town, and she began fuming, going on about how she's told her daughter not to let this guy drive that car. She told them not to smoke cigs in the car before. She's found cig butts and blunts in her car, and the boyfriend has actually wrecked before and hit someone, resulting in the mom having to deal with it because the car is in her name. She tells me that it was for her. I asked what she meant, and she held up a finger to tell me to hold on and dialed a phone number. This lady started screaming her head off to her daughter, telling her it's time to pack her spit up and the boyfriends and get the F out of her house. She told them they had till 10 p.m. to be gone, or she'd be coming back with the same police I made a report to, and that she knows they threw a McDonald's cup of ice at somebody and almost hurt another woman and her children. I was in complete shock. I apologized for having told the police since it's her car, and she said she didn't care and was glad I did. that she'd deal with it later. Moral of the story, don't drive your girlfriend's mom's car without her permission, almost wreck, assault someone in traffic, and continue to recklessly drive. ETA, because someone asked. When I mention Burger King in the same side of town, I'm referring to the town in which the report was filed, which is the town they reside in. Our city requires to be filed in the town the people live in, not where the incident took place. And in the initial police call, I was transferred to their district after giving them the plate number. I'd like to add the report has also gone through and charges have been filed. Overall, a happy ending for those who weren't a-holes. Sorry again for the format and timeline. I wrote this on and off during breaks at work today. I'd like to add that if a moderator would like me to message them with the original statements I gave to the police, as well as the case number, I am more than willing to do so. As it is an ongoing case, I unfortunately cannot add them in the post, but will be happy to update with the documents once the case has been closed. And this story is posted by u/Majestica F 1987. It appears we're at an impasse. I love my husband, I really do, but he's a downright slob. He leaves his socks, clothing, shoes, dishes, etc. everywhere, and I have to clean up after him. After begging him for 2 years to not get a dog, he brought home a rescue. Guess who takes care of it? We've now had this dog for 1.5 years, and I love him to death. Anywho, we decided I do all housework, he vacuums. I begged him for months to pick his spit up, he refuses. So the dog got spoiled. Every day I give the dog a bone or a squeak toy for him to annihilate in the living room on the carpet. It's been 3 weeks of this. And let me tell you, that Amstaff tears up spit like no other. Cotton confetti and bone fragments everywhere. The carpet looks like a fluffy cloud, and if you're lucky, you'll scream in excitement when you step on some random spit hidden underneath it that this dog has gracefully destroyed. Husband finally looked me dead in the face, pissed as hell, and says, "You know I have to clean this, right?" I laughed and said, "Well, I have to clean all your spit, so I'm just distributing unnecessary messes evenly so we can both waste our time together." It's been a week and he's finally cleaned up his spit. F you, sir. And this story is posted by u/Mary Carey. Subtle revenge on line cutters. My boyfriend really loves Subway, so we went there a few weeks ago. As we went inside, it was completely empty, but we still went up to the counter in a marked waiting line. So a few seconds later, another couple walks in and they decide to completely ignore us, and they just walk straight past us up to the counter. Of course, they got served first and they really took their time. As it was really hot that day and the AC wasn't working, I decided to wait outside. It also started getting harder to breathe through my face mask. So I went outside and sat at the only available table with the sole intent of waiting for my boyfriend. We weren't planning on eating there. The couple walks out a few minutes later looking really pissed as I just blocked the only table outside, so they went back inside. Then my boyfriend comes out and I tell him that we're going to eat here after all and also just really take our time. Apparently, it was very hot inside as the other couple was done eating really quickly. Who knew? And this next story is posted by u/Tessindra. Park your car on my spot? I will do so too. So this has been a long fight of wills, but we've managed to come out as a winner. Me and my husband moved to our house a few years ago. We have an apartment in a housing association, and there's a shared parking lot for the residents with marked parking spots. Our parking spot is in the middle of a row of spots. Every spot is car-sized, meaning a normal-sized car fits there if you park it right in the middle. You might wonder why I tell this, as it should be obvious. Well, for our neighbor, that it isn't wide enough. For some reason, our neighbors, let's call them Smiths, won't ever park their car in the middle of their spot. It's always on our side. Sometimes little more, sometimes a lot more. On their other side of their parking spot, the other neighbor parks their car correctly. That means they are on our side, and on their right-hand side, there's loads of room. When they do this, we have to park little to the left too, and sometimes when there's cars parked on both sides, it's absolute hell to try to get out. Neither of the Smiths are disabled or have any difficulty to get in or out of the car, so even that's not an explanation to why they do it. I secretly think the Miss Smith parked the car so close to ours to prove herself she is wonderfully thin as she can slither off the car from the tiniest gap. I think this because it's often her who parks the most closest to our car. So like I said, this happened on and off for a few years. We've tried politely, asked them to leave some room for us to get out of our car. Sometimes they kind of remember that the right side of their parking spot is theirs too. Sometimes the car is almost half in our spot when we come home. Last time this happened, my husband lost his temper. Smith's car was way over the white border on our side, so he parked our car, driving it right in the middle of our spot. The thing is, when he did this, the gap between our cars was so small, the doors couldn't be opened on the right side. We went out from the left side of our car and got home. The next day, Smith's car was gone. I don't know how they managed to get in it or drive it out. They didn't come to our house to ask us to move it or complain. I guess it would be ridiculous for them to complain to move our car that was correctly parked. The few days went by and their car was still missing. Then we noticed they had parked it on the guest parking spot down the road. They still continue parking their car there. Our car is always parked neatly in the middle of our spot. I guess we won. Oh man, those were 4 great stories. To hear the best stories of the week, click on the video in the top left-hand corner. To hear more Reddit stories all related to what you just heard, click on the video in the top right-hand corner. And if you have not already done so, click on the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Once again, this is TNA, Top Notch Audio. Thank you for listening and have yourself a great day.